Welcome along to the Netherlands for round 4 of the Breakout Racing League Tier 2 Championship here at Zandvoort. Well, it's located about 45 minutes away from Amsterdam, the capital of the Netherlands. Zandvoort is a popular seaside castle city and home of the southern portion of the Jacques Kinderbeland National Park and the host of the Dutch Grand Prix. The Zandvoort circuit is one that is known throughout Grand Prix racing from its time on the F1 calendar from the 80s and the 30s as well, all the way from the 30s to the 80s. But F1 has taken quite a long break from it, but we have returned for Circuit Park Zandvoort. With 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, Circuit Park Zandvoort is a track that comes at the driver very quickly and demandingly, and there's no room for error or relaxation. The 4.259 kilometer, 2.646 mile circuit has 2 DRS zones, one after turn 14 and one after turn 11. But with the fast-paced nature of the circuit, it means overtaking is quite difficult around this track. Well, the drivers need to negotiate around 36 laps around this circuit using the C3, C2, and C1 compounded tire, which is C3 being the soft red wool compounded tire with the quickest pace but the least durability. C2, which is the medium, the yellow wool striped tire, which is the best balanced race tire, and the C1, which is a hard white wool compound of tire, which is the slowest but the best in duration. And I'm alongside with Echo.
Thank you, Gotcha, for this long introduction and well needed. Welcome, guys. This is your boy Echo 3XT, and we're here at Zandvoort. We got Feta Cheese, one of my favorite friends from Tier 3. He is now showing up in his debut race for Tier 2, moved up in the rankings for his pace, as he's going to be the first one to set up a lap. He's coming around into the long right-hander. You don't want to be too tight in this turn or you will clip that curve and lose your car. But it's going right into the fast left, shooting to the right again, getting the good exit out of turn 7. Right on the gas in gear 4. He's really doing well so far in this first race in Tier 2. He's trying to set the pace for everybody and show what he's made of, and show why he got moved up from Tier 3.
Yeah, with Echo what he just said, that is some headlines to talk about. Zaizu and Feta both were Tier 2 last season. They're back in the Tier 2 Championship, but we also have to say goodbye to Saxman, Taylor, and Sink, because they are all three promoted to Tier 1. But as you said, Feta going to be the first one to set a lap. Here he comes around the final corner now to set a 1 minute 9.574 banker lap time for the Racing Point driver replacing Taylor Clan 2008. Who was the championship leader. But now, with obviously the moving on of some of those drivers, the Unsighted Point goes to the pole position at the moment, 9-1-1-8. Ritzy Raccoon goes 9-1-2-3. So the Alpha puts himself into P2 at the moment. I believe that's a Ferrari. Is that going to be, a Skeppy? Skeppy goes to P4 at the moment with a banker lap time of 1:12.184. But let's go look at the championship real quick. Ritzy actually receives the Tier 2 Championship lead with 28 points ahead of DX Ishigo, who we're actually on board with in the Racing Point with 26 points for the Racing Point. 24 to Zeno, who actually needs it. Actually, no, he's in now. Good. P4 is Swellerstein. We're going to go look at him real quick. He's in the pits, so no lap from him. CRS Facetas is now actually up to 5th place, in the Drivers' Championship, along with Killer behind him in 6th. TTM Mitch in 7th. Fercho in 8th. Bobina in his first debut got 8 points. He moves him up to 9th in the championship, who actually, by the way, is up to 3rd from his opening flyer. And that is Luis, an 8.816. He was also a new Tier 2 driver. He's now in replacing
Taylor.
Notona, I think.
You sure it's Notona? That was Taylor.
I think it was Notona. No, Taylor's the Racing Point.
Right.
And fitting it out, Furby in 10th. Let's go look at the Constructors' battle. Speaking of the Racing Point, they're actually leading 74 points to their name ahead of Red Bull. About 14-point gap to them. 60 to Red Bull, 39 for Renault. They're P3. Alfa Romeo, P4 with 34 points. McLaren has 32 points to their name. Alpha Tauri, 24. Williams, 17. Haas, 12. Ferrari, 8. And Mercedes, hopefully with a good showing from Luis here, they have 4 points to their name and 10th in the Constructors. We'll see if they can improve on that.
I actually had a chance to speak to Facetas and Feta. Feta actually, he's feeling really confident for this race. He said Tier 2 is not as fast as it was as Tier 3, so he's feeling really confident to be up there with these guys, fighting them for every tooth and nail of this track. And Facetas is feeling really confident as well. This track is not hard unless you really want to fight somebody side by side. Sector 2 is not really where you want to be fighting at, but some of these guys like to take that challenge. Some of these guys like to live life on the edge. So could we see some good, solid battling from these guys on this short track, on this deadly track, if you're not careful? As we see a yellow flag, that is gonna... No,
It's
actually...
out for Romeo of Skeppy.
Yeah, Skeppy, apparently Skeppy had a little uh-oh, and now he's pulling into the pits. His tires are pretty worn, so he probably had a little short spin. Don't know. But we have a Renault coming to the line. No, he pulls into the pits.
Yep, so I believe the only one on a flying lap at the moment, if I could be incorrect with this statement, but I believe it is Zaizu. Like I said earlier, him and Feta Cheese, both of them were in Tier 2 last season, 1 season ago. So actually I can go point up the points real quick as I get to that. That's an invalidation for the Renault, by the way. That's not really going to be great. He's on the medium, so he's going to see what he can do. Actually, it says he's on the medium. I just don't know if that's actually true. There you
He's
go.
on the medium.
There you go. I didn't want that to be incorrect because of the glitch. Yep, so a season ago, Zaizu finished himself in 9th position of the championship, actually ahead of DXD Ishigo, who's P2 in the championship, so that could possibly see if Zaizu can try to rebound and get a strong performance this season. Feta, unfortunately, did not have that great of a Tier 2 performance last season. Got 19th in the standings. We'll see if he can rebound, and obviously he said he is feeling comfortable as Zaizu will start another flying lap in the Renault.
Yeah, Zaizu and Feta are new to Tier 2, but I want to wonder how long would it take them to get used to this environment. This is a new environment, new group of guys that they have to fight for a championship. They are 4 rounds behind. We would have to see how they put their strategy together, being 4 races down, but where would they fit in to this group? These guys are pretty quick. They're really fast. They're not that slower than Tier 1, so you cannot take these guys for granted. Big group of dogs. That's all I'm going to say. It's a new group of dogs.
Zaizu gets past the corner in which he invalidated a lap prior. He's now going through up to turn 11, a little bit on the power, but it's too early. A little bit of a wobble from the rear end of that Renault. Now with the DRS down into turn 12 in the almost hairpin kind of carousel complex going up to the final penultimate corner. He actually, I believe, looks like he did back out the lap. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, it does look that way. We also see Skeppy that's crossing the line. He's starting up his lap. And we got a Renault right behind him who I think is... No, Renault is going to pull into the pits. Zaizu pulls into the pits once again on those mediums. Huh. That's
I
odd.
believe Skeppy... I think... Actually, no, that was a lap from Sweller up to P7 in the Alpha Tauri at 9.43... Or 9.493, I'm sorry, for the Alpha Tauri driver, as he goes and puts himself into the top 10. Obviously, nothing has changed. The top 10 obviously has to start on the compound they qualify through with to start the race, barring that it is actually a dry race by the looks of it, how everyone is on the softs, and some guys are choosing the mediums. It looks like it could actually be dry. Oh, that's a mistake from Skeppy. Gets on a little bit of the high curve, the apex of turn 11. That unsettles the Alfa Romeo, and he's lost a bit of time. Not sure exactly how much that'll hamper his lap. Bunny hops the curb into 12. That's not an invalidation. I'm really surprised, but he looks like he may have lost quite a lot of time.
Well, DSD, Ichigo, Zeno, and Furcho have all set their new lap times. Furcho has moved up into P2 with a 1.90. Zeno jumps on Ichigo in 5th place. He goes up with a 1.91, and Ichigo moves into P6 with a 1.92. Good group of laps for those 3 guys. And as we see another car come to the line, he's actually going to pull it to the pits. But then right behind him, we have a Renault who's going to cross the line and pull up a 1.92 to jump in between of Zeno and Ichigo. Good little solid lap from Killer. We got another car coming around to the final corner. Is he going to go? He goes up into P2. TTM Furby, the furry lover, is going up with a 1.89.
That's Tito.
Huh?
It's the wrong person.
Hey, he's Furby, so I'm gonna say furry lover.
Okay.
Still fur.
Okay. I believe Zaizu, he's on a outlap now. Let's go look at him as he goes through the final quarter. Yes, he will start his outlap now on the flying lap on the soft compounded tire, the C3. So we'll see what he can do in starting the race. Obviously, the race is like it is in most tracks here in the F1 2020 game. It is a easy, manageable one-stop strategy, either from the soft to the hard, or if you even wish to dare and stretch it to the soft to medium, as demonstrated yesterday. The mediums, oh, it's gonna take me to get used to say this. The mediums can do roughly 28 laps. Thanks, Chunky, for finding that one out for us. Mythbusters with BRL.
They can do how many laps?
He took them 30, but they were like at 90%. They could do the plus side of 25 laps if you really want to do it. So you could do a soft to medium.
Oh God.
I don't recommend it, but it's possible. Purple Sector 2 from Zaizu in the Renault here. We'll see what he can do. Obviously P16 at the moment. That's quite a step up in driver number and driver attendance from a week ago at China. Obviously only 10 drivers, I believe, showed up. So not everyone's guaranteed points this time. Zaizu on the final corner. And the Renault, like I said, he goes up to P11, a 9.457. Good opening banker. 6 minutes left to go in the session. Everyone is on the softs except for Facetas in 16th in the Williams with a 9.8 for him. Let's see what they can do. Both Mercs are actually crossing the line. Ginger, he's going to be going into the pits, and Luis is going to be starting a flying lap going through turn 1. Let's take a ride along at the Circuit Park Zandvoort in the newly crowned Mercedes driver. In Tier 2, we have a new familiar face. We have 3 new familiar faces. That's not really how I want to word that. 2 familiar faces and 1 brand new. How about that?
There you go.
Let's take a lap with Luis. So as I think you said earlier, actually, that downhill right-hander is quite difficult. Your car can snap loose anytime possible, and it's just really hard to really gauge exactly how. Just one time it'll be fine, the next time it'll break loose. Through turn 11, you'll want to avoid that. It's a little bit of a mistake. Get off the track for the Mercedes, and that's in a lap aborted.
Just ahead of him, we see 3 cars actually jockeying for position on track. It's between I think that's Alfa Romeo and the McLaren and the Renault. Those 3 guys are really jockeying for position, so who's going to set their time first? It'll be Skeppy. Skeppy's going to start his lap, and he goes up to P10.
9.3 for him, I believe. It was the Renault of Zaizu who pitted. I believe that is Luis, who also just went into the box. This now leaves Killer to start a flying lap for the other Renault. He's P8 at the moment. He's about roughly 2/10 ahead of his teammate down in P13. So we'll see what the new Renault team pairing can do. Obviously, the last one was quite difficult for Killer, because I mean, it was from the beginning. You were fighting the reigning Tier 2 champion. Well, now you have Zaizu. Let's see how well that pairing works out for Renault. Renault, like I said, right now P3 in the constructors. So have a hill to climb, obviously now using one familiar face and one brand new to Tier 2 for this season. Like I've said, I don't know, countless times, so you probably should get a counter somewhere on the screen where I've said that. You may run out of fingers, but, you'll be all right eventually. Let's see how Renault can do. Obviously, Feta, that was a very good lap. We missed that. At 8.9, he goes up to P2 at the moment. 3 minutes left in the session. That's a Purple Sector 2 for Renault of Killer. Let's see if that actually holds up true. Can he improve on his flying lap? That is, I believe, was that Zeno that went up to P4? Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Wait, 8.996 breaks into the 8s. That's now the 4th time to do so. Around the final corner for Killer, he's going to go in aboard his lap and try to get one last flyer in. Both Alpha Tauris are on track. Unsider's on an outlap. I believe Sweller is he on a flyer, or is he? Looks like he's on a flyer.
Sweller is indeed on a flyer, but he is low on fuel, so I can see him going into the pits right now. He has time to go into the pits, getting the new fresh fuel load, and go right back out on some new sauce to try to get ahead.
Haas out, Mitch as well, and P13 on an outlap. So I believe you would be correct. I think Sweller is going to box. Yes, he is. So that now leaves Mitch going to an outlap to start his flying lap around the final corner. Unsighted right behind him in the Alpha Tauri. Unsighted has quite a good showing, especially in qualifying, as you saw from the last couple of races. We'll see if he can convert that to the race. I believe that is the Alfa Romeo of Skeppy that just came out of the pits.
But everybody watch your ears for this one. I will say this: no more reverse strategy. Thank you. We can finally have everybody on the same strategy. Like, jeez.
Everyone's actually qualified.
Right? Everyone is actually qualified. This is the first time in Tier 2. Taylor, I'm throwing shots at you.
Hey, you throw shots at him. He's actually... Oh! Mitch around.
Mitch is gone.
Haas front wing. A mistake from the Haas driver. Got on the curb a little bit too much, and that lost the balance of the Haas. And around he goes. P13 is going to be the maximum for the Haas driver. I believe that is actually going to be the Alpha. No, it's going to be the Mercedes. It's going to be Smoking Ginger. Nope, it's going to be Luis. Going to be the next one to start a flying lap. He's provisional pole right now with an 8.16. We'll see if he can go even faster. Feta, P2. He's going around the penultimate corner right now. Can he challenge the Mercedes for pole? Furby, actually unsighted goes pole. I told you he was good in qualifying. That's an 8.661 for the AlphaTauri. That's going to be a great lap to try to go and match. Feta starts his flying lap. That is going to be, I believe, either Ritzy or Skeppy. That is going to be Ritzy starting his flying lap. He's P7 at the moment, the championship leader. What can he do here in Zandvoort? I believe that is the Renault of it was Killer. Killer's boxing. He cannot go any further. So his highest is going to be P8 as he retires in the pit lane. I believe that's going to be the Mercedes of Ginger. He's now starting a flying lap. Mitch retires in the pit lane. He cannot go any higher than 13th. So that is going to be, I believe...
Feta loses it on the long right-hander. I'm sorry to cut you off there, but Feta got too tight on the curb. And just like I said earlier, you get too tight there, you will lose out. He indeed loses out on this time. He cannot improve. Unsighted port has been cut off a little bit, but I don't think he needs to go any further. He's already invalidated his lap, trying to get around Feta. But, man... that curb is really a death wish if you get too tight on there. Luis goes up.
That is Luis. Goes even faster.
A 1.8629.
Here's Zeno on his flying lap. Can he improve? It doesn't look like it. He still has one more shot, though. As a couple other drivers started their flying lap. Furcho was one of them.
Ritzy moves up to P3.
Ritzy up to P3.
The AlphaTauri and the pink Mercedes, Feta and Unsighted, have went into the pits. They are indeed done for this qualifying session. We have a Mercedes around the final corner. That is Smoking Ginger. He's going to come up to the line, and he's going to go up only to P14 with a 194. Skeppy cannot improve. He finishes in P10 with a 193.
Furby's on a lap still, going through the penultimate corner of the Ferrari. P5 at the moment for him. He's an 8.916 for the Ferrari driver. Can he improve on the grid? Killer and DXD and Mitch all are out of qualifying. They've retired already. Furby around the final corner, up to the line. He goes ahead of Ritzy with an 8.672. That's three drivers within a tenth of a second. That's a great qualifying margin for them. That is Bobina going up to P8, I believe. Just got past in the nick of the time. Matches Zeno, but he goes around to the final corner now. Can the McLaren driver, he was pole in Vietnam, can he get it here at Zandvoort? That's going to be an improvement for someone else. No, he's not. P6 for Zeno, P7 I believe. Actually, it was P8 I believe for Furcho. That was the improvement that I was talking about. I think Facetas is on a flyer.
Nope, he actually invalidated. He's going to be starting in the back of the grid.
Zaizu comes up the line. He cannot improve as well in Ritzy boxes. So that is it for qualifying here in Circuit Park Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix of Round 4 of the Breakout Racing League Tier 2 Championship. On pole in his debut, Luis get that position sorted with an 8.629. Unsighted port, another good qualifying session for him in the AlphaTauri. He gets P2, not too far off of the Mercedes driver himself, Furby. Not too far off. I believe that is actually 11 milliseconds separating the AlphaTauri and the Scuderia Ferrari. So that is a good showing from the Ferrari driver. Ritzy, the championship leader, will grab P4 ahead of Sweller. And Zeno and Feta on his debut goes to P7. So a great qualifying for the Racing Point.
Yeah, that was a beautiful qualifying from the Racing Point. He's out here showing what he can do. He's not too far from the top 5, but he's still up there. Look at the top 3 under 1/10.
Under half.
Wow.
great close qualifying. That's what you want to see here in the Tier 2 Championship. That's why you come and tune in. Fercho, P8, he will start on the 4th row. Bobina will start P9. Killer will take the top 10. Everyone in the top 10 will have to be on those soft compound attire unless it rains. We do not know the forecast yet. DXC Ishigo did not make the top 10. He will be the first car on fresh tires in the Racing Point. Skeppy, P12. Both Skeppy and DXC, the rivalry continues. They start on the same row again. Mitch on P13. Ginger, P14. Zaizu on his debut for Tier 2. He gets P15, and Facetus will be the slowest runner of the grid in P16.
The top team in this qualifying session will actually be Atari. They're the ones to look out for. I think one of them started 2. Yeah, it's P2 and P5 for the AlphaTauri team. So they could be dangerous to get together and start all work with each other. But Skeppy and Ichigo qualifying right next to each other again. Love it. More fighting from these two. Oh my god, I'm getting really hyped for this one.
Well, I'm just saying, the highest runner in this session right now, that is in the Tier 2 Championship for Season 6, that finished last season, everyone else ahead of him is actually in Tier 1. That is DXC Ishigo. He was P4 last season. So can he try to make it go one further and get a podium, or could he even try to go for that win? He's starting P11. Let's see, going to be the difficult race for him ahead of him. Like we said, everyone in the top 10 have to start on those soft compound attire. Everyone behind him can go to whatever tire they wish. Mitch right now looking like he's going on to the mediums. Ginger puts on the hards. Vasadis also puts on the hards. Zaizu and Skeppy and DXD right now are all still on the softs.
Nope, Skeppy just went on the hards, and Zaizu goes on the mediums. All right.
That's gonna be it. So
screw what I said.
Softs.
Screw what I said with no reverse strategy. Screw it. just throw that out the window.
Well, like we said earlier in qualifying, it is an easy one-stop. You can either go from the softs to the hards, or the soft to the medium, or if you're going to do the inverse, you can go from the mediums to the softs, or the hards to the softs. So we'll go through the grid right now. Let's go and get the tires on. That'll be nice, wouldn't that be? Everyone else in the top 10 from 1st to 11th actually is on the soft compound tires. Skeppy, Ginger, and Facetus all on the hards with Zaizu and Mitch on the mediums. Keep in mind that the soft runners will have an opening good stint with the pace, barring no safety cars. So actually, we're actually looking for the soft runners need to have a safety car if they really want to, I guess. Okay, let's change the way I'm saying this here. The medium and soft runners could use a safety car whenever, really, around maybe the window of lap 8, because they can use that to their advantage. The hard runners cannot have a safety car that early, because they cannot pit. They can't go on the mediums. Well, they could, but I don't think they should. You know?
Right. The hard runners would need to have guys spread out, not cause any trouble, and just bide their time, pick their own pace, not fighting too much, because they have a long-lasting tire than everybody else on the grid, so they don't need no type of issues early in this game, because safety car will really mess up their whole strategy. Guys in the softs and mediums will try to go pit for the hards, and the hard tires will be older than the new tires for the hard. So, yeah, Skeppy, Ginger, and Facetus would not be looking for any type of issues early this race. As you see, the strategy board comes up as soon as the cars line up on the grid. That's kind of late for a strategy board to pop up there, but okay.
Yeah, they popped up whenever we started to go on, but whatever. Facetus will pull his Williams into the 16th spot on the grid ahead of round 4 of the Breakout Racing League Championship. We have new drivers, new faces, some old ones returning, and a lot of action ahead of us for Zandvoort. It is a great track. It is a flowing and fast one. Can it be one for the history books? The lights are on. And it's 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go. We've been held for a little bit. A little good start, actually. That was a great start from the Alfa Romeo. That's Fritzy alongside Furby already down the inside. Around the outside, look at that. That's the Mercedes of Luis going around the outside of Unsighted Port. Unsighted Port is going to fight back down into turn 3. Can the AlphaTauri get ahead of him? Yes, he can, but only for the moment. The Mercedes now has the inside line, but can the AlphaTauri stick around the outside? Ritzy already gets ahead of the Ferrari of Furby. He's up into P3 already. He's challenging the Mercedes for P2. Ritzy's not backing down. Can he get it, though? Great start start from Sweller. Zeno's up a couple positions already, and that is unsighted away from Luis, from Ritzy, from Furby, from Zeno, from Sweller, from Furcho, from DXT. Great jump from him. Bobina. Then as Feta actually dropped back a couple positions, Killer, Skeppy, Zaizu, Facetas, Mitch, and Ginger has lost quite a positions off the start of the race.
Oh, as soon as you said that, Sweller has been spun around. He got too tight on there, trying to stick on the inside of Zeno, but Zeno has closed the door, not seeing him there, so Sweller is all the way in the back, out of this pack. That is not something you need as a solid compound tire car, but man, that was really unfortunate for Sweller. He thought he had the gap, but it closed up way too soon in his face.
One AlphaTauri's trouble is another AlphaTauri's success. Unsighted Port will lead the first lap and grab the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Ahead, like I said, with Luis, Ritzy, Furby, Zeno, Furcho, DXT, Ishigo. That is Zaizu and Skeppy. I believe that's another move going down. That is Feta and the McLaren of Bobina around outside of turn 1, going into the outside of turn 3, going for the inside of turn 4. But like we saw on lap 1, maybe the outside is the preferred lane going down the traction zone. Feta's going to try to keep it going and have his front wing trying to get around the outside. A little bit of contact, some dooring, a little bit of wheel banging going up into the fast left-hander, and right-hander, and that will go to Feta in the racing point.
Feta and Bobina being really respectful of each other, giving each other the exact amount of space they need to go around that fast right. I am really glad that they actually did that, because one little mistake going side by side like that can cost both of their races. So good job to both of these guys to keeping it clean, and they can keep going with this race and not lose none of the pack.
Yeah, you saw the same incident like that happen in Tier 4, actually. The Ferrari of Ron Swanson lost it on the gravel and actually collected a broken reptile. So one mistake through that downhill right can definitely ruin your race. As Unsighted Port still kind of leveraging the gap. Luis grabs the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. About 3/10 is the gap between the Mercedes and the Alfa Tauri, but the Alfa Romeo still kind of pressuring the Mercedes of Luis as DRS is enabled this lap. The drag reduction system, the flap in the rear wing will activate, and if you are within 1 second of the car in front, see how well that's release speed can help these drivers.
Zaizu goes wide. He is on the medium compound tire. He's trying to stick to his teammate Killer. He's not trying to let Killer get too far ahead, because he can really use his teammate to stay with these soft compound tires. Right now, if the sauce were to pit, Zaizu is in the proper place to be going up into P1 to lead this race. He's looking to stay right there with them and not let them get too far ahead. We're not really seeing much fighting, just a lot of training, as guys are literally just falling right in line, not really pulling too many punches yet. It's still too early in the race. It's only lap 3 out of 36 laps, so we still got a long race to go, guys.
Long race indeed. Like I said in the preview, it is going to be difficult to overtake, as the high speed, low speed, and just the off-camber corners around the Circuit Park Zandvoort just makes it really difficult to overtake on the button. With DRS, the Mercedes with Luis, he's going to go try to fight back for the lead, going to the left-hand side of the AlphaTauri around the outside of turn 1. He's going to try to go for it, but the AlphaTauri sticks in a little bit of doors banging, a little bit of more wheel banging, but the Mercedes will get out in front of the AlphaTauri. Unsighted goes back to P2. Luis back up front.
Luis did a really good job going around the outside, sticking it in there, knowing the soft compound tires would have more grip. They're both on softs, but being on the inside would give you less speed coming out of the turn. So Luis picked the spot, he picked his poison, and he really got that job done with no issues involved. So congrats to the Mercedes for pulling that overtake done and cleanly.
So let's go take a look at the order off of position gains. We obviously see Luis and Unsighted Port, both of them have not lost or gained any spots off the start of the race. Ritzy Raccoon is going up 1, Furby down 1, Zeno goes up 1 for P6. Big mover in the positive direction. DXT goes from 11th to 6th on those softs. He's made those softs work. He has the fresh ones compared to a little bit of used ones for everyone else in the top 10. Furcho goes up 1, Feta goes down 1. Bobina and Killer both stay where they were. Zaizu went up 4 from 15th up to 11th as Luis grabs the fastest lap again. Ginger goes up 2. The biggest loser from the position gain is Sweller down at 8. Skeppy actually did pit as well, I believe, or may have been spun around. He's down to 14th. Facetas 15th. He's gone up 1, and Mitch has gone down 3. Not a great start for the Haas driver as well.
Speaking of pitting, Skeppy, Facetas, and Mitch have all already stopped for the next set of tires. This is not really the start that they wanted, especially for Mitch and Skeppy. Facetas as well, he's actually had a little bobble not too long ago. that's putting him even further down away from Skeppy. So he's on the newer saws, but he's really having a hard time in this race.
You know who else is having a hard time in this race right now? Furcho, who seems to be a little bit struggling on those soft compound tires. Look at how close Feta just got through turn 11. He's going to try to use the drag reduction system to his advantage. No overtake button, so he's going to try to stay behind the Red Bull as they go into the third sector. He's going to try to go set up for a move around the first straight.
Yeah, you say Ichigo set it up for a move, but Ichigo had a little bit of a lockup that is going to let Furcho get by. And Feta Cheese, he's pushing a little too much. He's the first person on the grid to get a 3-second time penalty. He's really trying to hold that racing point in there for Furcho. Furcho is making a lot of mistakes. Being the tier 3 driver coming up to tier 2, he's trying to make a name for himself early on. So, could he do that by getting rid of Furcho first? As Furcho locks up again, Mercedes is going to be the second person to get a 3-second time penalty. He's pushing a little much as well, but he doesn't have much to push for. TTM Mitch is diving into the pits already. Wait, what? 3-lap mediums. Oh, he just retires in the pits. Mitch just said, nope, he's had enough.
So day gone bad to worse for the Haas driver. Mitch not really had the best of the start of the season that he would wish for. 17 races. Look at Feta. I'm sorry, trying to make that move around the outside, down the inside late. Stroke.
Down the inside of Furcho. Furcho left a little bit of a gap for Feta, but Feta couldn't get there in time. Furcho closes the door and is able to keep P7. As we see right now, we got Furby. He's on the back of Ritzy. Because we see Furby get a move on Ritzy Raccoon into turn 1. He's looking down the inside. He's going to go right back in behind Ritzy. He said, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to wait my time and pick my poison. As we see Furcho trying to pull a move on. Actually, Feta pulled the move on Furcho. He's gotten up to P7. So Feta has actually got a good opportunity into turn 1 to get the move done. Good job by Feta. Now he's behind his teammate. The pink Mercedes is right behind each other. So yeah, Feta is doing a really good job. He's actually made up a good ground, and he's able to pick his poison as well.
So let's go take a look up front though, because what I've noticed is Luis has actually grabbed about a 1.4 second gap, now a little bit less than that, as Unsighted got a really good exit through turn 11. He's broken the DRS from Unsighted. Unsighted has done the same to the Alfa Romeo of Ritzy, but Ritzy still has pressure from Furby, as we saw earlier, which has a little bit of a train going on. Zeno stuck in it, as well as DXD Ichigo in the racing point. So about the top 3 in the championship are actually in this little train, as Furby actually got some great exit through. Ritzy's trying to break the draft. Here comes the Ferrari to the left-hand side of the Alfa Romeo. He's going to go down the inside and up and through to P3 and the podium positions already on lap 8 for the Ferrari. We saw this back at Bahrain. Maybe these two going to scrap another race in the books. This time it's Zandvoort.
And Say's turn 1 is the prime opportunity for overtaking done. Most of our overtakes has been done in turn 1 only. Not much has been done in the rest of the track. So, yeah. These guys are really doing good in the top 10. Yeah, the top 10 is still right by each other. Nobody's giving any edge to each other. They're all on 7-lap old tires for the solves. They're really keeping it together. So good job by these guys. But Zaizu is not too far behind on those 7-lap mediums. We're still going to keep an eye on him.
The lead car on the alternate strategy, so we say. So 5.1 seconds the gap between him and his teammate Killer. So let's go look at them, by the way. As Killer and Zaizu, both of them are not the only ones that are close on track with their teammates. DXD and Feta, up until a while ago, actually, I believe it was a Racing Point 5 or 6-7. So when did DXD get past Zeno?
I'm not sure.
Good, we're blind.
Yeah, we're both blind on that one because I didn't know Ichigo was challenging Zeno.
Exactly.
Huh.
But there's another challenge going on. I was talking about how Killer is not too far away from his teammate. Killer's also not too far away from Bobina and Furcho in the battle for 8th at the moment. Both of those guys have about a second drop off to Feta after Feta dispersed of the Red Bull driver. So these three are battling for the lower points at the moment. All three on those. Oh, wide through turn. I believe. What turn is this? I believe that is turn 9 into 10, now 11. That's wide for Killer, and I believe that is going to be one. I mean, he took out the braking board for the 100 meters. Not that many drivers would use that 100-meter braking board there, but two, you may have received a warning for exceeding track limits. Keep that in mind. Obviously, we've seen 2 drivers already have a penalty for exceeding track limits, that being Facetas and Feta. Those cannot be removed by the stewards unless you give a, I guess, piece of evidence or a clip that shows an unfair giving of a warning or penalty. So,
this track is not, well, I wouldn't say it's not hard to get a penalty on. It's one of the easiest tracks to really just keep it clean. You rarely see anybody get a time penalty here. As a driver, you want people to get time penalties. You're gonna keep it clean yourself. But this is one of those tracks that's really consistent, or you know how this track feels. If you just run it, you run your own race, you would not get a time penalty here. You will get warnings, but I really don't see people just popping up time penalty left and right on Zandvoort. I don't see it. But I've been watching this battle for a little bit, and I say this, well, it gets a 3-second time penalty. I was just about to talk about him, as him and Smoking are actually going at it. The hard compound tires versus the sauce. Sweller is really pushing his car, but he cannot get up to the back of Ginger.
Well, it's about around the window where the soft should start being a little bit degrading and maybe even falling off.
Speaking
so
of which,
start seeing the medium. Yep, that is exactly why. That is going into the pits. That is going to be Ritzy, Zeno. Oh, actually, no, that is Fercho, Killer. Those 4 have gone into the box. Hard, for Zeno, and Ritzy. Hards as well for Fercho. Mediums for Killer in the Renault. He's going to try to see if he can stretch those out. Like we said, he can do, I mean, I don't recommend it, but you can do 25, so that's going to see what he can do in the Renault.
He's doing 25 laps on the sauce. Yeah.
From Faceta. Not softs, the mediums, but yes, definitely.
Whew, man.
Yeah.
Scappy and Facetas are looking for a rebound. They really want a safety car right now, but Tier 2 is really being careful with each other. They're not trying to pull any desperate moves. They're getting gaps where they should be. And I see a gap form. Zeno has passed by Sweller. So Zeno is back into the points. He's just made his pit stops. He's on new hards. As the guys in the front will be making their stops, Zeno is already making moves as his own.
Well, speaking of moves, here comes Furby on unsighted. He's going to go to the left-hand side of the Ferrari. He was gaining on him, a little bit of wheel contact going into the apex, but all clean there. The Ferrari will get up into P2 as I believe it was Bobina that went into the pit lane, as well as DXC Ishigo. Hards for both of those drivers.
Unsighted is going the wrong way that he wants to be. He wants to be back on the tail end of Luis, but Furby, he is making himself known that he is here as well. He wants to be fighting up for P1. None of these top 3 drivers have penalties, so they're all fighting on track. But right now, if these top 5 pits at the moment, Ritzy will be your leader, because he's not far from the race leader at the moment. So he has the pit stop gap.
Let's go look at it. So the pit stop gap is roughly around 15.5 seconds. So Ritzy right now is about 16.6. So he has about a 1.1 or so gap to Luis. So he would actually gain about, what, a net 1 or 2 seconds on the Mercedes driver, because Ritzy was P3, but he was overtaken by Furby. So he was P4 off the pit, as all 3 leaders have gone into the box.
All 4.
All 4.
They're going on hards as well.
Hards for Luis, hards for Furby, hards for Feta, and hards for Unsighted. And that will promote Zaizu in the Renault on his mediums up to the Grand Prix race lead. Luis comes out. Here comes these 2, though, Ritzy and Furby. Ritzy will grab the undercut on the Ferrari driver and up to P2.
And he's right on the back of Luis. So Ritzy has done a good job. The Alfa Romeo squad has done well to put Ritzy right in the contention to get back in this race lead. So because as soon as Zaizu pits, Luis will be your race leader once again, but I don't think he has to pit because Luis is going right up to the back of Zaizu, catching them really quick on those new fresh mediums. I mean, fresh hards. Oh my God.
Another guy I've actually seen that's made quite a big improvement in the pit lane is Ishigo in the Racing Point. He's jumped unsighted. Unsighted not only has gone from 3rd, he's now gone to 6th.
Oh,
even
man.
possibly being counted by the McLaren of Zeno in that position.
Yeah, but not much difference between the 1 lap old hards and the 0 lap hards. There's not much difference, so everybody is still on the same set of pace. Man, Excited is really not having the luck he wants after starting so well up in the top 3. He has only moved down 3 positions, but let's look for him to get back up to where he wants to be. And Feta goes down the inside of Ginger to pick up P8. And Ginger's still out there on 13 lap old hards. He's going to be pitting soon. Bovina and Killer, along with Fercho, will be right on the back of Ginger soon. So we can see Ginger diving into the pits really soon, or else he's going to be losing a lot more time than he is now.
Well, we saw in turn 1, Luis actually almost went down the inside. He thought about it on Zaizu, trying to hamper himself, trying to get past the Renault and try to not lose as much time as he is. Speaking of losing that much time, look how much time Ritzy has gained on the Mercedes. Now it's only 0.3 of a second between those two drivers. It was like 3 seconds between those two before the pit stop window. Ritzy's gained massively in the second stint so far. Oh, mistake from the Mercedes of Luis.
Luis is really getting held up by Zaizu. He's trying to look for an opening, but that's only backing him up into Ritzy. Ritzy is behind his time. He is really gaining on him. So Luis really needs to pick up the pace now that Zaizu's out the way. Ritzy's back up in front. Not Ritzy. Luis is back up in front, and Ritzy's hot on his tail, but don't look too far. Furby and Ichigo actually pick up their pace as well. They're getting right on the back of him. So this is going to be a 4-way battle at the moment for P1.
Yeah, where did Ichigo come from?
Ichigo being the dark horse coming out of nowhere.
I said last season he got P4, was the highest finishing driver that is currently in the Tier 2 Championship. So he right now is on pace for a really good finish. He's up 7 positions, started P11. That is Zeno get a 3-second time penalty. It'll be applied to his race time. That will not really help him too much in his fight against Feta, who's actually trying to chase him down. But Zeno is right now trying to chase down unsighted port 3 tenths of a second between him and the AlphaTauri. That's also really not going to help him in his fight.
The AlphaTauri's really struggling right now. I did say earlier they was going to be the team to look out for, but they have only fallen back in this race. And the Ferrari power engine cars have been dominating. The Ferrari and the Mercedes power engine cars have been dominating, as Ichigo is being the dark horse coming out of nowhere up into P4. He's going to be contending for a podium.
Zeno, sorry to cut you off. Zeno's trying to go down the inside of unsighted in the AlphaTauri contact. Zeno had to be pushed on the entry exit, or the apex exit curb, if you will, which is a little sausage curb, which is still going to unsettle the car. Thankfully, nothing bad happened of it. The XT has actually gotten really close to the back of the Ferrari of Furby. Furby just doesn't seem to have a grip on his hards as much as he did the softs earlier on in the first stint. The Racing Point of Ishigo definitely does seem to have a lot better handling to those white C1 tires than the Ferrari in front. Furby's already lost about a second to Raccoon of Ritzy in front. I don't know why I just said his name like that, but you know what, we're going with it.
Raccoon of Ritzy.
Raccoon of Ritzy. It's like Knight of some kind of...
Well, Ichigo
someone interested...
Huh? Ichigo has been one of those drivers that have been stronger in like later stints. Not so much in the early stint, but he's been stronger in like second or third stints. So I'm not surprised too much of where he is. Unsighted port picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's definitely not going to help out his race. But like I was saying, Ichigo is a strong driver on the harder compound tires than what he really is on the softs. So Furby, keep making too many mistakes, Ichigo's going to go right past you.
Virtue gets past Ginger for P8, and Zaizu and Facetas gets past Skeppy, who actually goes into the pit lane.
Killer down the inside of Bobina. Killer down the inside of Bobina, but gives up that position. Bobina keeps P10, but these guys are battling for P8. That was a little close between Killer and
down all the way
Bobina.
to Killer. Actually, I think Killer may be at a disadvantage here because I don't know if he can take those mediums the entire distance. He also, I mean, he can. I just don't know.
He's
if
gonna
he'll
fall off
have
real bad.
Ginger locks up a bit, but we're gonna try to get a little bit closer. He's gonna have the DRS, but so is Ginger. Not really much can be done. Both cars have DRS. The straight is not really long enough for an overtake, regardless, as both cars kind of buddy hop over the turn 12 curve, going into the almost carpool style final 2 corners or so. You would see it at middle school or something. I don't know. Luis gets the fastest up the Grand Prix, 11.9 for him. He's starting to. They're both starting to gap the likes of Furby and Ichigo. Ichigo's actually falling back about a second from the Ferrari of Furby. Is actually Bobina and Ginger get past. We saw them a second ago. Bobina down the inside and up and through into P9. So that's going to release him to the fresh hards he has. Facetas goes into the box of the pit lane. That's going to be a yellow flag.
Killer.
That is actually going to be Killer.
Oh man, what happened to Killer?
I think he lost it going through turn 3 into 4. I mean, the car gets a little light in the rear end there, especially if you go over the curb too much. So you obviously, it's not that hard to do. I mean, I'm not really sure. I mean, he obviously has no left front end plate. You can see on his front wing. So that he did hit the barriers. So the big question is now, is he going to box? He's obviously going to lose a lot of time around here at Zandvoort. Like the style of the circuit, it's almost like it's almost referenceable to like a Monaco or a Hungary, where you need a lot of downforce to actually get your car turned in a bit. This is how flowing and almost, I mean, you're always turning here at Zandvoort. So this front wing damage is going to be significant to that Renault as Luis goes even faster, 11.8 for the Mercedes.
Zaizu is really going to be having an issue here. He's going to have to manage his fuel load more because he got the yellow icon showing up really early in this race. That is not going to help him out much. I don't know, was he thinking of under-fueling the car? No,
it's possible, because you don't have to use that much fuel here, since you mean a definite good strategy is to go into lean mode, or mode 1, throughout the corners to kind of conserve your tires a bit, and kind of keep your car planted to the ground throughout some of these corners, as, Chandler said.
I suppose.
I'm taking that to heart, Chandler. I don't know if you're going to watch it, but, I'm taking it to heart anyway. Chandler's actually taking those, the hards 18 laps. So expect him in the pit lane maybe next.
I'm surprised he hasn't already died into the pit lane. He's lost a considerable amount of time. He's going to have to still pit compared to the other guys. So him being out that long is really not helping his race. He's going to be out of the points.
It's going to be, I mean, I'm thinking he's going to try and go to the soft compounded tire. Obviously, I think Killer actually just did box. Yes, he did. He's on the hard compounded tire now. So he may have, I mean, the gap between those two guys right now, he can definitely get out of him from Skeppy. So with the soft compounded tire, he probably could get from P12, go chase down Zaizu and Zweller, and maybe go grab some points at the latter stages of this race. We're still a long way away, 17 laps to go here in the Dutch Grand Prix, here in Circuit Zandvoort. So we're going to have a long time to see who exactly can get to what position. Speaking of getting to what position, there's a little bit of a train starting to form once more behind Unsighted. This time Feta and Zeno are now into it. Feta's going to gain a bit on Zeno, about a second or so. And that is Facetas with fastest lap, 11.83 on the mediums. For the Williams, you need to be in the top 10 to grab that fastest lap point. He right now sits P14.
Ritzy, speaking of him, he's actually in the inside of second on Luis. As Luis jumps the curve, you really see his car bunny hop the curve, trying to get every single position he can get away from Ritzy. But Ritzy is too close. He's going to get that DRS. Is he going to be on the back of Luis going into turn 1? We will have to see as we watch him chase him down the front straight. No, I do not think he's going to get there in time. But he's going to be closer than he was, a lot closer than what he was a lap ago.
Let's go look at the ERS between those two. Look at how much more ERS the Alfa Romeo of Ritzy has than Luis going through. I mean, Ritzy's going to have a considerable amount of advantage with his, the battery deployment. You just gain so much speed on the overtake button, regardless of, it's just how, I'm not actually sure. It's a shock. I don't actually know a stat. Congrats. Someone can actually call me out for once in the comments, probably. I don't know exactly how much brake horsepower your car gains with the activation of the overtake button. As Facetas grabs the fastest lap again, gets past Skeppy this time for P13. He still needs about 20 seconds or so to grab Ginger for 10. Long way to go, though. Still 16 laps remaining as Ritzy still looking about 5/10 or so going into the final sector. Only about 4 corners. This final sector is nice and quick. About 18 seconds is the time, I believe, or about 20 or so. But regardless, coming through the banking for the start of lap 22.
The story for me right now, I see Unsighted is really being hounded by Zeno. Zeno was really close, but he does not have the ERS to contend with Unsighted Port. Unsighted Port has more ERS as Ichi goes wide into turn 1. That is not what he needs if he wants to go fight for a podium. He was doing really well, but he's starting to fall off the Ferrari. That's the Ferrari is still pulling away. He is now 2 seconds ahead of Ichigo. And Ritzy is now 3/10 off of Luis, holding him in slowly but surely. The Alfa Romeo will be reeling in this Mercedes.
They're becoming weak. I'm starting to see a more level of maturity from Ritzy that you didn't see last season in the Alfa Romeo. Obviously, he stayed in the Alfa last season as well, so he's got a little bit more to grips of that car. But what I'm seeing here is a lot of smart decision making from him, a lot of more consistency that you would see. Last season, only won 2 victories. One at Brazil after being hounded by myself, but the other one at Hungary after driving a flawless race. But so far this season, he's been really consistent towards the top half of the field at most tracks, if not all. Ritzy grabbed P2 at Bahrain. That's a yellow flag, and that I believe is actually Zeno who's out of the race.
That should be a yellow flag. That should be a safety car. He's right there on the track. He's on the top portion of it, but still on the track. That's a virtual safety car. Oh, man. I was kind of hoping for a safety car to bunch this group back up, but I guess we'll take it virtual. I guess we'll take it.
It just looks like he may have grabbed the exit curb or a little bit of gravel going into the final corner here. Right here where Mercedes is, may have grabbed on that curb too much gravel and either overcorrected or just lost it straight to the left. I mean, there's not much runoff. Actually, there's no runoff at all with that banking, which is quite different. It's almost like a NASCAR style of banking, so there's not really a runoff area. So if you lose it there, you're almost certainly going into the barriers, as Zeno just pointed out. But up front, though, from that, you've actually pointed out with DXD, you said he was looking better on that second stint. Furby's actually come quite a little bit of alive on those harms. Same with Unsighted. Unsighted's now starting to put the pressure back, trying to regain those positions he lost. He started P2.
P2, yeah.
Was actually the lead of the race for a while. He's fallen back to P5. He's still going to try to go for it.
Sweller picks up a drive-through. Oh, man. Wait,
I think he actually just spun.
Yeah, I think so. He is yellow right now.
Bad to worse for Sweller. That is Luis and Ritzy actually going for it, battling after the exit of turn 1 into 2 into 3 now.
Side by
has the
side.
inside, still going to go around the outside of it though into turn 4 for the Mercedes, trying to switch back the Alfa Romeo. He's going to try to go the best he can. I switched the wrong camera. He's not too far away. He's not right under the rear wing of the Mercedes. He's going to try to go down the inside. This is going to be close.
Really close on the fast right-hander downhill. But Ritzy is going to keep it clean with him, and he's going to be right back behind him. Ritzy is still putting the pressure as Sweller retires in the pits. But we're not worried about that right now. We still got an Alfa Romeo versus Mercedes. But not too long, we got the Ferrari right behind them, still chasing them down. If they fight too much, Furby will be right behind them. Where did Furby come from? Furby just came out of nowhere. He is really chasing these guys down. Furby has found his extra pair of wings to contend for this race win. Come on, guys, give us a race. Give us a race. We've been waiting for this. Come on.
We have about 12 laps to go here at Circuit Park Zandvoort, and it's going to be one heck of a 12 laps indeed. We have Luis, Ritzy, Furby, all within about a second or so of each other. Then you have a little bit of a gap to DXD fighting Unsighted Port. Then you have a little bit of a gap between Unsighted and Feta. Feta's now going to have a little bit tiny of a buffer between Furcho and Bobina. Ginger's now finally boxed off of those hards, now onto the soft compounded tire. He's going to have to try to fight his way through into the points, which is probably doable, as he actually comes out in front of Facetas, I think.
Right now, Ritzy is in the prime position to just take Luis out the equation. Ritzy has 90% of ERS. Luis has under 30. Fergie is just hitting 30. So Ritzy is really in the best position he can be without using any of his ERS. Where is this pace coming from Ritzy? Whoa, 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 whoa.
Well,
don't look too far. Hold on, don't look too far. We got the sky going, dark people. Could we see some
That
rain?
is true. It is quite, I guess, it's not...
No, that sky
not
going dark.
Uneventful, I guess you could say. I don't know. It's not... You know what? I give up. Anyway, back to the race.
Lock up.
It's just hard.
It's alright, it's alright. We got a lock up from Louise that just backed him up into Ritzy a little bit more. Ritzy's not using none of his ERS, going to the down right heel. He really does not. He is just putting all of the pace with just engine alone. Oh my god. I'm scared of Ritzy. Jeez, he might really just take off in this championship. He's pulling off races like this without using ERS.
His championship rival, DXD Ishigo, right now sits P4 like he did a season ago. He's going to try to go a big bunny hop from the Alfa Romeo. I honestly thought the rear end was going to go around with how high it went, but, you know, thanks to the physics of this game, you're not going to see a suspension pop off.
The top.
Probably happened by now.
Do you see the track right now?
It's starting to get really dark. I just don't think it's going to be coming enough to get some wet weather.
True, but the track is getting really dark.
That is true. Tier 4 happened. It was about, what, 3 or 4 laps away from the finish. We had a light drizzle. Tier 3, I think it was actually sunny the entire way. We had a wet qualifying. So rain and a little bit of damp weather is not a shock to have.
I could definitely.
That's the word I was looking for earlier. Oh my god, I found it. Congrats. Pat myself on the back.
But I
it's
can
not,
definitely see
it's not
it,
a shock. It's not a shock. We would possibly see it. If something's going to come in time, maybe it's hard.
The wind is picking up. I do see some Dave Reed picking up onto the screen for the drivers. The track is getting dark. They're starting to form like little racing lines. You know how the race line for the track just shows up when you know it's about to start raining.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's starting to show.
11-0.
And then just, oh my gosh. This is really getting dangerous.
There's still about 10 laps remaining and 10 circuits around Zandvoort. We have now coming to 9. Luis is still cannot find a
now
gap.
activates his
He's
ERS.
using the button. He's trying to go for it. No,
he's being smart about it. He's gonna keep saving.
Like I said earlier, I've seen a level of maturity from the Alfa Romeo driver in Ritzy that I didn't see a season ago. Well, how times have changed. Ritzy's now going to try to go for it again this time. See if he can try to go a little bit closer. Turn 11 and keep it with the final sector. Would get a little bit closer, use that battery that he has to his advantage. But that grass doesn't help through turn, what is this, 7?
Yeah, turn 7, turn 8.
Turn 7.
Yep, turn 7, turn 8.
Now, look at Furby.
Well, yeah, Furby just coming out
a lot
of nowhere. Jeez. We were saying that about Ichigo, but just look at Furby now turning on the jets.
Furby, he's like activated his. He turned off the
that
slow
bunny
button
hop again from the Alfa Romeo. They love bunny hopping that curve. I can't do that.
You would think it's Easter. It's still March, guys.
Ichigo using his ERS to try to stay in front of Unsighted. He's trying to catch up to the top 3, but Unsighted is not looking too far behind. But Ritzy still being patient, still buying his time, still stalking his prey. He's like a predator stalking his little bunny rabbit prey. Like, oh my gosh, Ritzy is looking really dangerous right now with that 86% of ERS to Luis's 30.
Looking dangerous.
Huh?
Ritzy woke up feeling dangerous.
Ritzy hearing voices in his head, Randy Orton style, as he is stalking his prey right now. Yes, I did a WWE reference. Do not judge me. I don't care.
I did an NFL reference. I don't want to hear it.
I'm just saying, like, Ritzy is really looking dangerous right now. I know I keep saying it, but it's just like, wow.
With about 6.5 or so laps remaining here at Circuit Park Zandvoort, it's still possible for these two drivers to actually, I was about to say, to gap Furby, and yes, they had definitely done that. It's about 1.5. Look at DXD, he's now turned on the jets a bit. Oh, kind of
just a bit.
Slowly creep up on Furby. Furby lost a little bit of ground to Ritzy and Luis. Luis is starting to actually activate whatever kind of second switches he had to try to get that little bit extra pace he has. He's now gotten the gap to about 6/10 to about 7. Now down to about 6 or so going through the exit turn 1. Ritzy a little bit too much on that curve. Looks like it doesn't affect him too much.
I'm going to say this.
3.
No, go ahead, finish. But I was going to say something right quick.
No, I was done.
Okay. Well, Ritzy, yes, he is saving a lot of ERS, but think about it, ladies and gentlemen. You can save ERS, but how many laps do you have to use it? If he waits too long, he's going to run out of opportunities to get past Luis. Luis does have ERS himself to keep in front of him, but Ritzy has the opportunity now. He cannot be too conservative. He has to get in front of Luis. This track is hard to get overtakes done. So if he can get this overtake done now with that much ERS, he can get this race win easily. Just easily.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Because you said about how many laps you need to pass him. Well, think about the all-famous saying, you can catch someone.
He's going now.
Can you pass him?
He's going now. He's going to go.
Oh, he is going now, down the inside.
I think he heard me. He's now putting on the jets. He's now putting on the pressure. We have 31 out of 36 laps. We have 6 laps to go, people. Ritzy, turn on the jets. Get this race win, my guy. You have the potential. You have the tools. It's right there in your hands. Come on.
As he would like to say, the Red Panda Squad, maybe looking on. Skeppy looking in P11, trying to fight for his points paying position. Most Genter at the moment, he needs about 6 to go find Saizu. But the other Alfa Romeo is looking strong as you go to turn 11 now. Like we said, about 5.5 laps to go. You can catch him. Can you pass him? He tried it last time. It didn't work. Let's see if he can try it again. He's going to have to get on that button a little bit earlier. Get the power a little bit quicker. Get a little bit of a better exit from turn 14 than Luis can. Looks like Luis gets a pretty solid exit going through turn 13 to 14.
But so does Ritzy. He does not get that much of a gap on him. Ritzy is now on the back of him. Is he going to activate the ERS? No, he does not. He still tucks it behind him, going under 3/10 of Luis. Man, but look right behind him. Unsighted look for a gap on Ichigo, but Ichigo did not leave the gap open as he closes the door on him. Unsighted is looking pretty feisty himself.
Keep in mind, Unsighted has that 3-second time penalty along with Feta as well. So Feta at the moment will be dropped down to P7 due to his time penalty. Unsighted will probably actually go down to Actually, he'll probably stay in P5 due to the car behind him having a time penalty. But DXD Shigo right now has a little bit of a breathing room with the Alpha Tauri out back. But, you know, who doesn't have a breathing room? Luis.
Come on, Ritzy.
He's starting to get a little bit of a breathing room, actually. 6/10 going into the final sector with about 4.5 laps to go.
Yeah, 6/10 can really turn into nothing if he doesn't get a good exit on this turn coming up. Does he get a good exit? Yes, he does. Going up to 7/10.
Actually tried to use a little bit just a little bit more curb through 13 than Luis is, which maybe is compromising his exit a bit. Going out, now we have 4 laps remaining here in the Dutch Grand Prix. We just need to find out if it's... Ooh, that's a yellow flag.
That's Skeppy!
Skeppy's out.
Skeppy's out.
Oh, he did what Mitch did in qualifying. A little bit too much on the curb on the left.
Oh, man, and he's on the track too. But there's not many more laps to get a safety car out there. I just said it. There's a safety car.
Speaking of that, all right, well, never mind. Forget what you just said.
Oh, man.
Late rate safety car. We have about 4 laps to go. The safety car will have to go in with at least 2. They have to get at least 2 green flag laps of racing here in the race. So,
no.
Here's a big fight. Do you pit? Speaking of pitting,
do you pit?
Bullet, he's now in the pits. This is reminding me of Singapore last season in Tier 2. We had the same dilemma happen about 3. I think we started with 2 laps to go. No DRS activated. Do you stay out? Do you pit? If you go on to those softs, you have a lot of more grip, but can you overtake This is really going to hurt Ritzy, by the way, because now he's going to bunch him up with the rest of the pack, because if Ritzy doesn't get going, he can now be looking behind him instead of in front of him.
I don't think you want to pit. Just because you go on the sauce, you don't have much
Well, speaking of that, Ritzy just went in the box.
No, Ritzy!
Kirby stays out, Ishigo stays out, Unsighted stays out, Feta stays out, Furcho,
you don't have
he
much
stays out as
time
well.
You don't have many gaps on this track to overtake. So I don't think that was a good idea.
Come out. He's actually going to come out in front of Bobina. P7.
These guys aren't
So
20 up low hards.
Laps. That is true.
But I don't think there's enough
He has
track space. I don't think there's enough track space.
If this was at a if it was a week ago at Vietnam or at China, I'm sorry, and this was the dilemma, I would 100% bite the bullet, take the sauce.
Yeah.
Because there's places to overtake.
On a track like
Here,
this,
you can't really overtake.
No. Yeah, you can't do it.
I mean,
unless
you
they
saw
see you
Ritzy
coming,
had
you don't do it.
significantly more ERS and DRS and couldn't do it.
And the only prime overtaking that Tier 2 has done is in Turn 1.
Turn 1. Or turn 4 if you're daring enough, which I could see Ritzy going around the outside of some. Safety car in this lap. Like I said, you need 2 green flag laps. So now it's going to be down to from passing the torch from one Mercedes to the other. The Mercedes safety car goes and gives the restart privileges to Luis, who leads Furby, Ishigo, Unsighted, Feta, Furcho, Ritzy, Bobina, Zaizu, Ginger, who those two are not going to be able to get up to the end of the pack. Those two are a little bit too far. Look at these two, by the way. Facetas and Killer are racing. All right, well, we'll let let them have that. Anyway, we're green here again for Zandvoort. 2 laps remaining. Oh, a little bit of a checkup. Here they go.
Checkup? What kind of checkup was that? You cannot do that.
3 wide into 1. That's not going to work. A little bit of contact. There goes around. Furby gets a little bit of contact.
Oh, there they go.
There comes back on the track. There they go. Big crash.
That's Feta.
Feta's
and
out.
Furby.
Furby's out.
Unsighted is going into the
Damage
wall.
to Unsighted and Furcho.
Ritzy is right back up into P3. That is just what you needed. He's right on the back of Ichigo and Luis. He has 2 laps remaining. Can he find some kind of way to open the gap as Ichigo gets around? Ritzy almost goes around. Oh, wow.
Yellow flag again. I believe that actually
Ritzy down the inside of Ichigo. I'm sorry to cut you off, but Ritzy is daring enough to go down the inside of Ichigo, but Ichigo cuts it off. He is not leaving no gap to Ritzy. Ritzy goes down the inside again. He gets on the brakes and he goes up into P2. Can he chase Luis down? Can he make this comeback? The sauce on the final lap, coming around the final turn. Can Ritzy do it? He has one more lap to do it. He's using
1 second.
all of his ERS. He's using everything
We
he's
need a last
got.
lap Lando effort from this Alfa Romeo now.
Yeah, we really do need a Lando effort
Under
from
a
Ritzy.
second.
He's under a second. He's pulling in Luis.
Under 9/10. Is he going to have enough time?
Is he going to
Under
have enough
7/10.
corners?
On the button, Luis is using
making
everything
mistakes.
he has.
Luis is making mistakes.
Down the right-hander. Into 8. A little bit on the grass from Ritzy. It's a little bit wide. Into 9. He has 5 more corners to do it. No DRS available. Into 11. Like I said,
right
no
there,
DRS. It has to be
5/10
now
under.
or never.
5/10 under. He has to do something. He has to do it now. He cannot wait no more. He cannot wait
2
any
tenths.
longer. 3
It's going to be down
tenths.
to the wire.
It's going to be a NASCAR down to the wire. Is he going to pull it?
Out of the final corner, we have on one hand
Oh my God, he's going
a
for it.
debut starter. On the other hand, here comes Ritzy. They're not done yet.
Oh
He
my
arrives.
God, Luis actually makes it.
Luis got it.
Oh my God.
64 1/1000ths of a second he beats Ritzy.
Woo,
Can you believe that?
Man.
Have you ever?
Oh, that was so close.
Have you ever seen anything like that? That last 2 laps.
Woo.
But on that note, Luis will win round 4 in the Dutch Grand Prix in Tier 2 Oh, it was such an effort from Ritzy.
One
He was
more lap.
so close.
One more lap.
64.
He would have had that.
1,000th of a second he lost that race.
One more lap.
Incredible.
He would have had that. That was incredible.
Ishigo grabs P3. Bobina on his best finish grabs P4. Zaizu on his return to Tier 2 gets P5. Oh, what could have been? Furcho. Unsighted.
Man.
Feta. I believe Furby as well. All of them.
Hold on.
I'm the best. I'm the best.
To do your thing.
You're dumb.
I will give me a second.
But that was cool.
Woo, man.
Going through on the podium once more, you see the familiar pink and the Alfa Romeo racing suits, but we see a first-time podium sitter and a first-time race winner in Tier 2 with Luis in the Mercedes grabbing the top step of the podium. Mercedes, I said, going into this Grand Prix needs a good finish. They had 4 points in the Constructors. They were P10. Well, they just added 25 to that tally. Great finish from them. So he grabs P2. This is the second time in 4 races he's grabbed the second part on the grid. And here we go, the finishing order from the Dutch Grand Prix. Luis grabs the top spot and the race win for Mercedes. Ritzy with the fastest lap on a daring charge, 64 1,000ths of a second. He lost that race, and it was oh so close down to the wire. Ishigo grabs P3 for the racing point. It may not be Taylor, but now, well, now we have a racing point on the podium for the 4th straight race. Bobina will grab P4, Zaizu P5, best finish for him, unsighted. What could have been? He was involved on that collision out of turn 1. Ginger P7, Killer, Facetus 8, 9, respectively. Furcho P10, Feta. He was up in the top 5 and collected with Furby, and they were both retired on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Skeppy, Sweller, Zeno, Mitch. There's a string of Canadians. 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. Well, wow, what a race.
Oh, man, that was a great race. And an awesome effort by Ritzy, but just couldn't get it. Didn't have enough turns to get the final point he wanted. He wanted that P1. He was going for everything he could. But as I say that, let's get on to our podium finishes. Ichigo, P3. How did you fare for that race? You became a dark horse for your second stint. But you starting to fall off, came back. You fought and got Racing Point up to P3. How did you feel?
Yeah, that was something else. Heading, after qualifying finished, I had my hand in my head the entire time. I was so disappointed with P11. I was doing practice for the past like 2 days, and then the P11 was disappointing beyond belief. Started on the softs anyways because I knew I would get a good start, gain like 3 positions, and after that it was just basically a repeat of last season, just being consistent every lap, and tried the undercut, but it didn't work as usual. And then after that, I was just trying to stick with Furby, lost some time, and then caught up a little bit, and then of course a safety car. And the restart was interesting to say the least. Try to go around the outside of the Merc and the Ferrari, and I backed out a little bit and saw the Ferrari got spun around, and after that I was tempted to let Ritzy pass, but at the same time I remembered we're fighting for the championship, so I made it a little bit difficult for him. And yeah, overall I'm just very, very happy to be back on the podium. I think I haven't been on the podium since Monaco last season, so it was a great race for me, and I'm very happy with that. I thought I was gonna have P4 again at the same track, but yeah, great. Congrats to Louise on the first podium, first win. That's amazing. Great job to Ritzy on the comeback, even though you're an idiot for pitting.
Little shots thrown between podium finishers. Thank you, Ichigo, for giving us a good race in the pink Mercedes, flying the colors as your teammate has moved on to Tier 1. I was about to say Season 1, but your teammate has moved up to Tier 1. You got a new teammate, but you still flew the colors for pink Mercedes. Congratulations to you. Ritzy, the Alfa Romeo, you have made 8 daring decisions to pit, but it almost paid off. A little bit more of a straight, you would have had that, but just came up a little close. How did you feel coming across that line in P2, man?
Well, honestly, I'm just really surprised with my pace this race. Like, I was able to keep up with Luis, who was just absolutely flying. Like, I wasn't able to get past him on the hard stint, and then coming into the safety car, I just decided I might as well just go for it. Because staying out, I wouldn't have been able to do anything. He just had the pace over me, and my tires were basically dead. And I wasn't expecting to make that much of a recovery. I just saw the entire incident just unfold between me. I just passed everyone. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. And then DXT didn't really make it that easy to pass him. I still went for it because I had the superior tires. So in fact, the strategy is better, DXT. It is.
Whatever, my guy. You lost the win, bro.
I don't know, but like, does P2 come before P3? Did the map change?
You went from being behind Luis for 30 laps to like 80 your ass and then like not getting the win anyway. So I don't know,
Well,
bro.
I
don't
went
know.
from being. Actually, I didn't go anywhere. I stayed behind Luis. Where did you go?
I went from P11 to P2.
Okay.
I asked enough shots fired.
We gonna see this
That's
next week
enough.
between you two. But
All right,
Thank
Shappy,
you,
I know you're
Richie.
gonna be on this. You better get this part. You better include this part of the fucking highlight.
well, Ritzy, thank you for giving us a little actually I'm gonna say little. That was a great highlight between you and Luis, and also Ichigo. Good shit by you. But let's get on to our race winner who clutched it at the end. Luis, how did you feel on your first race in Tier 2 coming across the line? Oh, you don't have a mic. That's a shame, man. Dang, I was waiting to hear your voice, see how excited you was, but you don't have a mic. That is upsetting. Man.
I mean, he doesn't need him like to be
Regardless,
quick.
it was a
That's
great
obvious.
race. I don't
Granted,
He
think having
spoke
a
with
mic
his
will take that away.
on-track
Luis,
performance.
Actually, at the
That
same
was enough
time, it
words.
really doesn't matter. You don't have a mic or not. We would have loved to hear your voice either way, but you still gave us an amazing race. You still fought everything you had. You gave everything you have, and you got your race win. Congratulations to you, Catcher. Any words you want to say, man?
Yep, that'll pretty much do it for on the on-track action here for Tier 4. Don't forget to tune in about, 30 minutes time or so, actually about a little bit 40 minutes time, for F1 Tier 1 Xbox.
About 40 minutes, yeah.
As you'll see 20 drivers. Yeah, it's about 40 minutes. You'll see the Tier 1 drivers go around the Circuit Park Zandvoort as well for the Tier 1 Challenge and the Tier 1 Championship. And going through as well, don't forget to tune in on Monday for Tier 5 and Tier 6 as they go through their Round 4 of the Dutch Grand Prix. But other than that, everyone else here in the booth and the entire Tier 4 grid, I would like to say a great race from all of you. Wow, thanks for giving us a show, and glad to be here. Glad you guys tuned in, and for one more time this season, on to Round 5. See you guys later.